So today we just concluded our session about nutrition with our Renew You seminar in the Zaragoza SDA Church. And what a great opportunity to really tackle these issues that we're talking about today, which is the coronavirus and all these other things. And so I want to begin with just a simple question. What is it? What is the coronavirus?
So the coronavirus, I'm sure a lot of you are very aware of now at this point with media coverage, but it's part of a group of respiratory viruses that are called coronaviridea, and that's where it gets its name, coronavirus. It is a respiratory virus, so it does cause a lot of symptoms similar to influenza. The big difference being that it has more lower respiratory system predominant features. So fever, cough, and shortness of breath or difficulty breathing is what is found in coronavirus. It's also spread similar to influenza. So coughing, sneezing, respiratory droplets is the main way that coronavirus is spread. So again, the same hygiene measures with influenza are definitely valid for coronavirus.
Will a runny nose be also a sign of it, or is different because of the lower respiratory symptoms?
So I'm pretty sure that it can have upper respiratory symptoms as well, including runny nose, but the main distinguishing feature is that people are, as they are sick and incubating the virus over those 12 days, they're starting to have more predominant lower respiratory symptoms that are not getting better. Usually with the run-of-the-mill cold or influenza, you might start having some relief of those symptoms at 2 weeks, but with coronavirus, people are starting to struggle at that time point.
Thank you. So, with that said, what precautions should we take?
So the main things that you started to find, you probably never heard so much chatter about washing your hands, and definitely washing your hands adequately. And to do that, really what the experts are saying, make sure that it's at least 20 seconds, make sure that you're washing all surfaces of your hands, including the posterior parts, which is one of the most forgotten portions that we forget. And really, making the wise decision and the responsible decision. If you are in that in that group of people who have high risk factors, which are people above the age of 65 or anybody who has chronic medical conditions, make the wise choice and avoid large public gatherings. Stay home if you're sick. Try to be responsible for those around you. So washing your hands is the main thing, and covering your cough, and definitely social distancing is definitely warranted with preventing the spread.
So today I was very interested when we were talking about some of these foods and the benefits for our health, and I think a lot of them tie up with the how to combat this coronavirus. And so today we talk about the nutrition. Can you please explain the relationship between nutrition and the immune system?
So I believe that the nutrition component of NEWSTART is a very promising one for us now, especially in the wake of coronavirus. We're so fearful about what it means for our health, our loved ones, but nutrition is really a tool that I feel can give you some control in a time when people are panicking. And the reason behind that is that a good nutrition is going to equal good immunity. So for example, diets that are lower in artificial and added sugars are going to have less inflammation, less weakened immune system, automatically going to make you better capable of fighting viruses. Another thing to think about is, the components of diet that really can have immune-boosting properties are things found in a whole foods plant-based diet. So for example, berries and leafy greens that are high in antioxidants can help you really fight viruses, flu viruses, cold viruses, and certainly the coronavirus. And then just the last topic to really mention is that a lot of these viruses, like coronavirus, that especially the COVID-19, which has become very well known at the moment, it was thought to be transmitted from the animal kingdom, right? So either contamination from animal species that are definitely unclean. So now more than ever, I think it's more important to think about the types of things that we're choosing to incorporate in our diet, because even if people, for example, were not eating bats, it could have been other meat items that were contaminated by bats or saliva or their feces or excrements. So in a sense, making sure that we're being very wise in the things that we're eating, because it definitely has effects on your immunity.
Thank you. So today's topic is actually part of a larger topic, which is called the NEWSTART. You see, N, nutrition, E for exercise, W for water, S for sunlight, T for temperance, A for air, R for rest, and then the T for trust. Can you tell us a little bit about how exercise also plays into combating these type of diseases, illnesses?
So exercise by nature is immune boosting. Every time you exercise, you are getting a good dose of endorphins into your body, which also helps to increase your immunity as well. Obviously, it lowers a lot of risks of other chronic diseases. So if you're at less risk for chronic disease, you're automatically going to be better able to fight, acute illnesses like viruses. Most people are recommended to get at least 30 minutes of exercise a day, or a total of 150 minutes per week. So in a time like this, certainly don't neglect keeping your body fit and active and healthier by nature of the exercise to fight viruses.
Okay, so we also heard the water is important during this time, especially for hygiene. And what about for the consumption? How can it help us?
So yes, you mentioned that water is great for hygiene. Obviously, we're using water to wash our hands, right? Of course, soap, but purifying the body is an important process that we obviously do on a day-to-day basis. And now, more than ever, we're paying attention to why we need to be washing our hands. But even in terms of consumption, water helps to really get rid of toxins, right? It's the solvent of life and what we're supposed to be drinking to keep ourselves healthy. So remember that. It helps to flush out a lot of things from our body that will, in a sense, stop up or cause poor immunity. So definitely don't forget your 8 glasses of water to stay healthy during the cold and flu season, and especially to combat things like coronavirus.
Also, we during our first seminar, we talked about all these principles, and we said that when we are exposed to the sunlight, we receive this vitamin D. Our body produces this. And so, how does that help us also in these cases?
So most certainly vitamin D is a component that's involved in immunity. There's a lot of research going on as to how much vitamin D we need exactly. The one thing that we do know is that sunlight is one of the most important components of converting inactive vitamin D into active vitamin D in our skin cells, okay? And so getting that sunlight and exposure is going to be critical for that component of immunity. But apart from that, we know that sunlight is also it's antibacterial, and it also kills viruses too. So during this time, even though people are afraid and panicked and sitting in their homes, don't forget to get outside and get some sunlight. That's another component that can really help boost your immunity.
And I'm thinking that the sunlight is not found in indoor places, so it's a good opportunity to get out there with your family, not to populated places, but places that are outdoors where you can actually receive the sunlight.
Yes, sir.
And what about temperance?
So temperance, really trying to eliminate the parts of your lifestyle that are hampering your health overall, right? So when we think about temperance, we tend to think about a lot of things like alcohol consumption, smoking, drugs, and then obviously just having balance in the way we're living our lives. For example, people who smoke, just by nature of the toxicity of the nicotine to the lungs, you're already going to have a weakened pulmonary function. So that's one way that, having temperance and really trying to just inhale clean, fresh air is a better alternative than all of these other toxic things that we can do to our bodies without even thinking about it. So most certainly temperance is a key component of being healthy during cold and flu season and for life in general. And not to mention just getting fresh air, right? I think right now the panic is, just wanting to be in enclosed spaces, but, there's almost, in current study, there has been no transmission of coronavirus out in the open air environment, okay? And that's because, hey, if you're inhaling fresh air, that's going to reduce your risks of transmitting any pulmonary or respiratory virus during this season. So definitely get outside and get some fresh air.
And I like the location that we found today for our seminar, because it is all surrounded by nothing but what? The wilderness. And so we have a lot of air, a lot of beautiful sights out here, and a lot of air circulating through the building. So that's always very important to be aware of. And then we also have the aspect of rest. How can it play a role into this?
Huge role in immunity overall. So we know for sure, science tells us that people who are sleep deprived have poor immune systems. They're more susceptible to chronic illnesses like diabetes, heart disease, again, which are the things that are going to make you more susceptible to diseases like influenza and coronavirus. So just remember, if you're chronically sleep deprived, you're not doing yourself a favor. So try to really alter your lifestyle and your activities so that you're getting and making sleep a priority. Most people are recommended to get anywhere from 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, and the sweet spot is usually 8, is what people talk about. So try to make that a goal, because sleep and lack of it will cause huge immunocompromise and really put you at risk for disease.
It's my understanding that some people may be off work for a couple of days due to this, and so it may be a good opportunity for you to start actually practicing those good principles of sleeping 8 to 9 hours. Is that what you said?
Yes, typically 8 is a sweet spot. Some people require 9 hours, but too much sleep can also be a bad thing. But 7 to 8 hours.
7 to 8 hours.
Yes.
Thank you. And then we have the aspect of trust. What does that refer to?
So trust, while seeming to not be one of those tangible health things like exercise or nutrition, I think overall it is one of the most important parts, especially in a time right now where if you've gone to a supermarket or gone out, you've seen that places are wiped out of day-to-day care products, water. People are in a state of panic, and it's spreading hysteria everywhere. Just like viruses, hysteria and panic are also contagious in our culture. And I think that if you look around you, you'll find that there are many people struggling, not just with anxiety, but with depression and worries and all sorts of mental health disorders because of a lack of peace. And so overall, you can see that sometimes even if people have a very healthy body, if their spirit and their mind is not at ease and trusting, they will also be just as ill. So one thing that's brought peace to me during this time of panic and widespread fear regarding disease and what's going to happen with our nation is something written to us in Psalm 91. And this is a beautiful psalm that I try to commit to memory, and it's been bringing me a lot of peace during this time. And I'll just read a couple of highlights from it. It says, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust." And, I think in a time where people are trusting in hand sanitizer and having enough toilet paper, like, are we forgetting the huge component of trusting in a God who cares for us and loves us? Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Another version that says perilous pestilence. We are living in perilous times. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings His truth shall be your shield and buckler. God gives us truth to really guard our hearts with wisdom and peace. And here's the part that really gives me a lot of comfort in this time. It says, "Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flieth by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 will fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near thee. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, your hiding place, no evil shall befall thee, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling place." How beautiful is that? And these words were authored years and years in advance. And the rest of the song goes on to say that, if you make the Lord your refuge, He is going to protect you and He's going to bless you with salvation and a long life. So in a time of fear and panic, remember not to forget to trust God. He is powerful and able to keep you even in times of distress and panic. And the greatest thing is that He's given us tangible tools to keep us healthy. Sometimes people look at the Bible and they think that these nutrition laws and dietary guidelines were arbitrary. But there's nothing arbitrary to our God. He's all-knowing and full of wisdom, and all of the counsels He gave us that are encapsulated in NEWSTART were meant to give us a life and life more abundantly.
Dr. Tarin, this is very encouraging. This may even be an opportunity for us if we have not been practicing these principles that we have been given, right? For a long time, we have that in our midst. But if we haven't been practicing them, it is the perfect opportunity for us to start today. And I want to remind everyone that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. Amen. There is a lot of confusion out there, a lot of misinformation, but we must always rely on who? On the Lord. He has not given us the spirit of fear. And so as we practice these principles, as we rely on Him, and as we of course, take our precautions, then we just rest assured that the Lord will be by our side.
Amen.
Thank you. We just wanted to send a message, Dr. James Tarin and Pastor Gonzalez, to our district, a message of encouragement, so that you may not run into this fear and panic that we see out there in the world. May the Lord bless you.